Hi everyone. Good evening. I just wanted to give you a few comments here. I'm at my home office and I have less books and less of everything at home, so it's a little bit more organized. Someone in class wrote on their class evaluations they wanted to come in and straighten up my office at the college because it was so messy. But I mean, when you teach a number of classes and I'm involved in different activities, it keeps you pretty busy overall. And I actually do clean up every semester, but sometimes it's hard to just keep the stack thinned down. I wanted to let you know where I am and what I have been doing, and give you a couple of comments. With the discussion board postings that you did on the written instructions, I've read every single one of those and commented on them. I really am a big fan of items that students do that are like homemade or handmade or work related or anything like that. But and I saw a couple students were doing like beauty related instructions, curling your hair, making a nice appearance, a professional appearance. That is great. And then of course, like I said, lots of people did cooking and baking, fixing items around the house, detailing a vehicle. All of that is really, really important. A friend of mine is a mechanic, and he said people that have cleaner cars, the mechanics tend to take more care of them or tend to really, um, you know, are a little bit more cautious when fixing them and so on because they know the person is really fussy about their vehicle. So um, I told you that my wife Vicki and I, we take our vehicles to a guy named Justin who's an auto detailer. He is incredible, but he was just basically showing us some pictures in a really short video that he made. This customer that he has had a minivan that she drove for a 3-year lease, but she had 15 cats, and the cats urinated and threw up, and she had all sorts of items that were spilled and so on. If she would have turned in the minivan in the condition it was in, she would have probably owed, $1,500 or $1,800 to clean that thing. He charged her $600, and it was really, really amazingly clean. It was immaculate. He shop vacked it a total of 5 times, and so it was spectacular. But what I'm telling you is, if you're good at something like he's good at detailing vehicles, and some other people are really good at other areas, that's great. I mean, that's really helpful. But in my opinion, being able to write effective instructions, really does make a difference. So I wanted to mention as well that your quiz is due by midnight on Friday night, and a couple of items that I wanted to just run by you and mention to you. The first question asks you to compare, academic writing compared to technical writing. And so, like I said, with, you know, technical writing, you have that ABC format. Then you'll have headings, subheadings, bullets, and so on. When you do academic writing, especially like MLA, if you're writing a 5-paragraph essay, that isn't required. But if you have the APA, if you're doing like a lab report or some sort of study or whatnot, you'll have like headings with it as far as like, introduction, discussion, summary, conclusions, and addendum, and so on. But typically, like I said, with technical writing, it's also written more for a few different audiences at times. You might have one part for one group, like technicians, another part for managers. With academic writing, it's written all in the same way. So, I wanted to mention that. I asked you about a summary assignment that we did for this class, and that's like the 3-part summary assignment, so you can explain the benefits of presenting the same information in several different ways. But I do want you to use a specific example of when you'd have to likely present information in a couple different ways in your future career. And I had a student in this class that is a wound care specialist. And so sometimes she has to visually, on a piece of paper or a diagram or so on, show a person how to care for a particular wound. And then sometimes she has to give more detailed written instructions, particularly if a visiting nurse comes through and they want it done a certain way, using like hydrogen peroxide and antibiotic ointment and so on. It could be more detailed, and sometimes you can use a shorter, more descriptive way of doing it. So sometimes you'll do something in 3 different ways. The other part that I wanted to mention to you, I believe it's in Chapter 10, where they compare a formal and an informal type of report. And we do informal reports pretty often at the college. A couple of years ago, the athletic director, Dick Holler, and I worked on an informal report on Title IX, which is gender equity in sports. So we looked at how many male sports we have, how many female, how many athletes participate, do we need to balance it out, and we actually added men's basketball, and we added men's and women's bowling, men's and women's cross country, men's and women's soccer. So, we wrote a report on that, and right now I'm working with a big group of people, about 15, on a Title IX grant, or Title III grant rather, and that's for getting money from the federal government to improve enrollment and so on. And one of our big pushes is to have even more online tutoring, and so that's something that we would really like to do in online services. And so we're doing a much longer proposal, but we've done accreditation reports, and those are 100 pages, and you might have 50 people that work on them. So that's mentioned in our textbook. And I also wanted to tell you, too, with the resume question, the one thing it says is, what do you do if you're a college student and you only have very little work experience and you're graduating? But you create what's called a chronological resume with an emphasis in academics, so your key classes, projects you've done, your software skills like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any of the CAD or AutoCAD, Inventor, any of those. Of course, any activities at the college, any in your community, work that you've done, like McDonald's or wherever, or if if you're in the medical field, like clinical, that you've done, any internships, that sort of thing. But that's really what it is. So I did want to mention that. So that's due for this Friday, and then I think for the next Friday we just have a discussion board to do. Actually, the written instructions aren't due until the assignment that we did the proposal for. The written instructions aren't due about until the beginning of April. So we're in really good shape. We're right where we need to be. And I just wanted to make you a quick video today just to say hello and to talk a little bit about the quiz and to say I'm pleased by our progress. Thanks.